Telling you my sin. Yeah, never say die. Got to go.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to more Dynasty series deck profiles for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 1. It's me, Cooper, and today we're going to be talking about the dueling mercenary, Titan. And Titan is also one of the 7 Shadow Riders from Season 1 of GX. Now, something I need to mention about Titan that you could probably already notice, I do not have his ritual spell in this deck. That is because Yugioh Omega does not quite have the ritual spell or monster just yet. But that doesn't mean Titan's deck isn't viable. In fact, it probably means it's more viable now that he doesn't have the ritual monster. So let's take a look at the Archfiend deck he created. So we got the Arch Summon Skulls, we got the Archfiend Soldier, a Soul Archfiend of Lightning, we got Shadow Knights, we got Terror Kings, we got Infernal Queens, we got ourselves a Desrook, we got ourselves Dark Bishops, and Vile Pawns, and then that's it. Those are your monsters. All Archfiend cards are here to play, and with these cards comes Checkmate and the Pandemonium Field spell to stop them from burning you. The Archfiend's Oath, which I don't remember if that's even good. It probably sucks. No, it's actually not that bad. It's not too bad. Axe of Despair, which is solid. Falling Down, which is amazing for stealing your opponent's monsters. It's actually super brutal. Archfiend's Roar, which is about special summoning an Archfiend for 1 turn. It dies at the end of the turn. Battle Scarred, which is very funny because it makes your opponent pay the same amount you pay. And Des Counterblow, which is a card he used for like no reason. Any monster inflicts damage to a player's life points by attacking directly is destroyed. So if you attack directly, you die, and it's a continuous trap, so that's pretty brutal. So this is going to be Titan's deck, and Titan's deck is got some pretty interesting cards. So let's go ahead and go through the attack stats. The attack stat of Titan is definitely going to be above average because look at this. The Summon Skull single tribute 2500 beater with the Skull Archfiend of Lightning, which is the same thing but with an effect 2500 beater. And then we have Archfiend Soldier, a 1900 beater monster, which is super solid. We have the Shadow Knight Archfiend, which has 2000 attack. It's so freaking amazing. And then we have the Terror King Archfiend, which is just as good and is super amazing, but you need another Archfiend on the field to summon, I believe, and it has 2000 attack. Then we have the Infernal Queen Archfiend, not very good. Desrook, not very good. Dark Bishop, not very good, actually terrible. Vile Pawn Archfiend, not the worst, but not good. And that's what drags down the attack stat. But because he has 4 monsters with 2500 attack for a single tribute, he has 5 monsters with 2000 beater attack. He has a monster that has 1900 beater with no downside. This deck is a beast in terms of attack stat. In fact, it's such a beast in terms of attack stat that I am willing to give the deck 7 bars in attack due to all these 2000 beaters, due to the 19 beater, and due to the Summon Skulls. Those are worth 7 bars of attack. A 2000 beater monster completely changes the game, in my opinion. In fact, it is so freaking scary to see these without any real downside. Terror King technically has a downside, but with your freaking Archfiend's Roar and stuff, it's actually not the worst. It's doable, and honestly, the only thing stronger than this that I've seen in the series is like Giant Orc. But Giant Orc has a major downside of 0 defense, and it has to go into defense mode after it attacks. There's no real giant downside other than your life points, and life points are worth the cost. So let's go ahead and get into Titan's defense stat, which Summon Skull is terrible. Archfiend Soldier is actually not too bad. Summon Skull is terrible. Shadow Knight Archfiend is actually not too bad. It hits the average. Terror King Archfiend, not terrible. Let's see, Infernal Queen Archfiend, not terrible. Desrook Archfiend, amazing. 1800 is a super great defense monster. Dark Bishop Archfiend, 14, not too bad. And Vile Pawn Archfiend is really bad at 200. So most of these are not too bad, but the Summon Skulls definitely tear down the defense stat by a lot because they're tribute summons and they have low defense. And the 200 defense on Vile Pawn Archfiend really tears it down. However, the Desrooks make up for it with their 18. That's really nice. And the rest of these monsters are at least around the average. They're a little below, but some of them are at it or around it, so that's not too bad. In fact, it's so not bad that I can actually consider giving this deck a 5 in defense. I know that might seem a little high, and maybe I'm being a little biased to one of the 7 Shadow Riders, but I'm going to be a little biased. We're going to give this guy 5 bars in defense. Very respectable deck. Honestly, most of these monsters are not the worst at defense. It's just the boss monsters, Summon Skulls, they are, and the Vilepar Archfiend. Everything else, not too bad at all. It's usable defense stat. So let's go ahead and move on to the speed stat. Now, speed stat is where things get a little interesting, because these Archfiends, like, looking at them, they're not really special summoners. However, Infernal Queen, look at this. Not a special summoner, really. Yeah. It does have an effect, though. Each standby phase increase the attack of one archery monster card by 1,000 points. Hell yeah. Desrook actually is a searcher, I believe. This card cannot be targeted, yada yada. Let's just put it up on the screen. You know, can't read it, but still. When a Terror King Archwing on your side of the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you contribute, send this card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon the Terror King Archfiend. Boom! It's a special summoner, so Desrook Archfiend is really good, and it makes it easier to summon the freaking Terror King at 2,000, so that's amazing. Dark Bishop Archfiend, I don't believe it has anything. No, it's not. Vilepar Archfiend, I don't think it has anything. As long as this card remains on the field, your opponent can attack any Archfiend monster card on your side of the field except Vilepar Archfiend. This is a stall card, funny enough. It looks like a mini summon skull. But, yeah, that's not too bad. But it's not a skill card, so, I mean, it's not a speed card. The only speed card I'm seeing is Vilepar. Archfiend's Oath, technically, if you're willing to pay the life points, you can actually sometimes guess the card on top of your deck, and you get to draw it. If you could guess the card, you do get to draw a card, so that's speed. You get something. Pandemonium. Let's see. You get to add one Archwing card from your deck to their hand. That's amazing. Beautiful. That's search. All of these are search. That's really good. Falling down. Technically, that's stealing. Archfiend's Roar. That's special summoning. There you go. Although, technically, stealing can be considered speed, so I'm going to give that a speed boost. Yeah, Archfiend's Roar. All of these are special summoning cards. That's not bad. Let's see. Battle Scarred, that's more about burn. And Desert Counterblow, that's more about stall, so that doesn't go into the speed stat either. So looking at the speed stat, we have the Archfiend's Roar, we have the Falling Down, we have the Pandemonium, and we have the Desrook Archfiend. Overall, this deck is not the slowest in the world. I actually could see some use out of this deck's speed. However, the search is not perfect, and the special summoning is really low, since this card says it only lasts till the end of the turn. So the stealing is kind of fast, though, so I got to give them more points for that. Overall, I think this deck is average in terms of speed. I'm going to give it a 4. This is actually a pretty fast deck. It has some options. It has a lot of search with Pandemonium, and it has a lot of special summon with Desrook and Archfiend's Roar, and Falling Down can steal your opponent's monster. So there you go. Yeah, overall, I'm going to say it. This guy has decent speed. 4 speed stat. Not bad. I don't know if these guys do anything else, because I don't know these cards that well. Let's see. If the results, yada yada, the battle damage this card inflicts is halved. That doesn't matter. As long as you have a 2,000 beater, no one cares. What about Terror King? Does he have anything interesting? Let's see. The effects of an effect monster that card destroys resolve battle or negated. That's actually really good. That's super nice. So let's go ahead and get into the skill stat. So the skill stat is going to be affected by a lot of things. Most of these monsters are indestructible because you have to roll a dice if they try to get targeted by a spell card or trap card. So that's pretty nice. Burn cards, though, looking at this, Infernal Queen's all about grazing your attack points on your monsters. Shadow Knight's kind of the anti that. The skill stat is actually kind of weird on this one because he's anti-skill since he's burning himself, making it so everyone else is doing better than him. All of these cards basically burn himself, and that's not good. But that's not to say he doesn't have his own version of skill, like the Battle Scarred, which is, even though he's burning himself, you will burn with him, which is really, really nice. So that's a burn point right there. Des Counterblow, anyone that attacks directly gets destroyed, which means that's a stall card. You could actually make some use out of that. We got Falling Down. No, that's not burn. No. Checkmate. This card lets you attack directly. Boom. That's a skill card. Vilepar Archfiend, that's a stall card if you can get 2 of these out. They do stall. Let's see. Do you have anything interesting? No, you do not. Good. Desrook, no. Terror King, no. It's skillful, but it's not what we need in our terms of skill. So yeah, it's not the most skilled deck, but Battle Scarred is, yeah, but I have to lower it. You know what? Titans, since they are burning themselves, which is what skill's all about, even though Battle Scarred does make you burn the opponent as well, overall, you need a field spell just to not kill yourself. So I have to knock out points for that. And then, let's say the fact that you burn yourself knocks out Des Counterblow and Battle Scarred. So if you have any other skills than those, which I guess Checkmate and Vilepar Archfiend, it's terrible. I'm going to give their skill stat a 2. This deck, it's not very skilled. You're probably just going to kill yourself. You need to be skilled to play this deck, but you're probably just going to kill yourself trying to beat your opponent up. A lot of these cards do cost a lot of life points. Like this monster here costs 900. The Terror King costs 800. I mean, there's a lot of cost. Summon Skull at least only costs 500, the Skull Archfiend version. So yeah, this deck is like the anti-skill. You're burning yourself for your opponent, and a few of these cards can make up for it, but at the end of the day, it's only going to be a 2-bar in skill. The next stat we're going to need to get into is the brick stat, and the brick stat is actually not going to be too bad because they have plenty of monsters they could summon, only 4 tribute monsters, and they're only single tributes, so it's not that bad. Most of these monsters are solid. Terror King can be seen as a brick at times if you don't have an Archfiend monster, so I guess if you only drew Archfiend Kings, that I could see that as a brick, but every card here is an Archfiend. So as long as you have one of these other cards, you could summon the Terror King. Plus, Desrook will literally help you summon the Terror King from the graveyard, so it's completely fine. And it's a good defense monster, so it's easier to get out summon skulls and stuff. Archfiend's Roar will help you. I guess the only real bricky cards in this deck are... what card is not usable at all? Archfiend's Oath, you have to be such a good guesser at that and cost you life points. I'm going to say that could be a brick, and Checkmate can be a brick. Other than that, the rest of this is fine. I'm going to say this deck really bricks. I'm going to say this is a 7-bar in the brick stat. Titan is super solid. In terms of stats, Titan is one of the scariest characters I've seen in this tournament. This Archfiend deck, if it wasn't for the fact that it's anti-skill and it burns itself, is one of the best decks I've seen so far in the series. In fact, it's such a good deck that I am willing to give it 3.5 stars. That is right. The potential of Titan for winning a tournament is pretty damn high. I think he could definitely win a tournament. You can win a tournament with this deck. You just got to be careful with how many life points you're paying. Get Pandemonium as soon as possible. You know, stall for it if you have to. Make sure you get use out of your normal monsters because they're the only ones you don't have to pay for. Yeah, overall, this deck is super scary. I gotta say, 3.5 stars. This is a tournament winning deck. Anyone that uses this deck is gonna have a lot of fun, and I wish you all luck. So that's gonna be it for Titan. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.